Right now, he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least 80,000, if not 180,000.
Is it acceptable for someone to create a documentary about you without your approval? How would you feel if it happened to you?
It's like
Definitely not acceptable. It's facetious and petty.
right. It's like somebody putting out your tape
Without your permission.
And you're not an actual porno star.
And they doing
The lighting wasn't good or nothing.
Jim Jones and his podcast crew thought they could clown 50 Cent's documentary work on air, and they had no idea how fast that move was gonna bounce back on them. This wasn't some rap beef or online roasting. What came next was way colder. It turned into landlord alliances, leaked eviction clips, and a whole setup that left Jim standing outside the studio he thought he controlled. This is how 50's affiliates pressed Jim Jones after he tried to take a shot at G-Unit.
trying to make you just look bad.
What?
Oh, they caught me on a bad day?
Right.
I wasn't even on my This they caught a weak one.
You see that the lighting is dark?
Damn.
You see that the lighting is dark?
Got me looking
You
small
still
out
put
here.
this on the internet?
Word.
I would
I
feel.
ain't gonna front. I think,
Yeah, I would feel messed up.
if they saluting you,
First of all, they want somebody doing a documentary about you. You wanted to be a dope documentary.
it gotta be dope.
Showing who you are, what you've done,
Put out no bullshit
everything
on
you've
me.
accomplished. Like, a documentary is a big thing. Like, you don't want nobody doing a documentary about like trying to just make your whole character look weak. Like, that's petty behavior.
Part 1 starts with the podcast that kicked everything into motion. On February 19th, 2026, security footage hit the internet showing Jim Jones kicking in a locked door at his own podcast spot after the power got shut off and the locks were swapped out. And this footage didn't come from some random fan. It was dropped by 50 Cent himself, who had teamed up with the landlord and even claimed he was now part owner of the building. After that, the situation snowballed.
Trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out. And ridiculous bullshit. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's like insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now, he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least 80,000, if not 180,000.
People tied to 50, business partners, the landlord, and even Cameron, Jones's former Dipset partner, all jumped in. They posted eviction papers, shared phone calls, and even laughed at Jones for supposedly not keeping the heat on. The hit wasn't about fists. It was about power, money, and public embarrassment. And the wild part is, it didn't come out of thin air. Everything traced back to a podcast episode from 2 months before. In December 2025, Jim Jones pulled up with Milo Face and Dave East on their show called Let's Rap About It.
Yo, nah, this is getting disrespectful and hilarious at the same time. I just want to know, how did 50 Cent get access to the camera? Because it's giving Big Bro the same outfit from the viral clip that started showing off martial art moves with Bruce Leroy in the back. Talk about show enough. Y'all got jokes, but I'm outside and I'm good. And honestly, that's probably the smartest way to respond when 50 Cent is trolling you. Because once 50 gets a reaction, he wins. But if you troll back without looking emotional, yeah, now the internet starts debating who really won the round.
The conversation drifted into documentaries and whether someone had the right to make one about another person without their approval. Dave East threw the question out there, but the responses that came after are what set off the chain reaction that blew back on Jones in the worst way. The whole room backed the idea right away. Jim Jones called the move petty and fake, and Maneo compared it to dropping someone's tape without their say. They weren't really disguising anything. Even if they tried to act like this was just a general discussion, the timing made their target obvious.
Was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
And balling took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. Watching them be that, like Mace be that and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one. And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot murder to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. You gotta watch to see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh, he really like that. Give me this, give me Jimmy.
50 Cent had just dropped Sean Combs' The Reckoning, a Netflix documentary series digging into allegations tied to Diddy. The Let's Rap About It crew viewed the whole thing as messy and unnecessary. They painted it as a setup, a way to use a documentary to tear someone down in front of the world. They questioned the motives behind it and treated it like a weapon aimed at someone's reputation. The tension in the room was heavy.
So I'm starting the year off at the top of your Explorer. Are you not entertained? Oh, everybody want to put my business in the street. I'm not gonna talk to you about my business. Right now, I am in the second phase of construction, but in my mind, I was thinking of building like a little mart, but we'll see how that goes. Pull up, yo. Show you what we'll be doing. I'm building a multi-purpose content creation facility for media, fashion, music, and broadcast. So only for those opportunities, they still be here working in the midst of us working. So still in the midst of construction. What I'm trying to say is, I've been happy to be able to invest in myself and something that I know is going to help a lot of other people. I'm not building this facility for myself. Yes, it is a business move. That's why I invested in myself. But I'm building this facility for all creators.
The hosts pushed their stance even harder, talking like this type of exposure was designed to stain a person's public image in a way you couldn't undo. Then Jim Jones delivered one line that would end up shaping everything that came afterward. Whether he meant it about documentaries specifically or just speaking on principle, people would debate that later. Face added his own concerns, wondering if something like this was even legal, bringing up defamation and the issue of using someone's likeness without approval. Mineo later hopped on Instagram trying to clean up the mess, saying his comments were about documentaries in general, not a direct shot at 50. But at that point, it didn't matter. The situation had already grown legs. 50 Cent didn't take it as a random conversation. He took it straight to the heart. And when 50 takes something personal, the response never stays verbal. He went after the entire podcast crew, calling them squatters and broke, claiming they owed around $250,000 in unpaid rent for the same studio they filmed in. He reposted the podcast clip with jokes. He talked about buying the studio himself. He started tearing down the credibility of the very people who questioned him. Mineo fired back online with sharp words and told 50 that if things turn into pressure, he's ready for it. By Christmas Day 2025, the Let's Rap About It hosts were already responding again, this time bringing up squatters' rights and making the beef even louder. Jones tried to freestyle and diss 50 over 50's own beats, a bold stunt that ended up helping nobody on his side and only handed 50 more material to flip back at him. And 50 wasn't anywhere near finished. What Jones and his co-hosts didn't see coming was that by questioning 50's documentary work, they had cracked open a door that 50 was ready to step through with paperwork in hand. Then came the Landlord tapes. Criticizing 50 on a podcast was one thing. What 50 did next moved the whole situation into a different lane. Instead of trading bars or tossing out slick captions online, 50 went straight to the person who controlled the studio space Jim Jones used. He called the landlord, recorded the whole conversation, and dropped the audio in a move that fans later called cold and calculated. The landlord, a man named Sam, broke down his side of the story. According to him, Jones had been using the building under messy lease terms, making heavy demands for renovations, and still refusing to lock in a real agreement that would make everything official. Sam painted Jones as someone who wanted full control of the space while dodging the obligations that came with it. But things went deeper than rent issues. Sam wasn't just a landlord collecting monthly payments. He claimed he had a contractual stake in the podcast's media output. Half of the content Jones was producing supposedly belonged to him under the original deal. And Jones, according to Sam, wasn't sharing earnings or following the terms they had set up. The lack of cooperation had pushed their working relationship to the edge. It got to the point where Sam was willing to sell his media stake to someone else entirely, and not just anyone. He offered it to the same man his tenant was feuding with. Sam told 50 he could buy into the podcast as part of the fallout. That offer showed just how sour things had turned behind the scenes and how little confidence Sam still had in the partnership surviving. The money tied up in the situation kept shifting depending on who you asked. Some said Jones owed at least 80 grand, others claimed it was closer to 180, and later reports pushed it to 250,000. No matter the exact number, it painted a rough picture of the podcast's finances, exposing a setup that depended on a space the hosts allegedly couldn't even afford to stay in. The irony hit hard. The same crew that sat in that studio questioning 50 Cent's ethics was now being accused of not being able to keep the lights on during their own show. And 50 wasted no time making sure the world heard this. He didn't keep the landlord call to himself. He put it online, tagged everyone, and added captions that made it clear he was enjoying every second of the fallout. The message was sharp. While Jim Jones and his team were talking about 50's documentary choices, they supposedly couldn't even cover the basics, like keeping the studio running. And for 50, none of this was the end. He treated it like the setup to something bigger. Soon, rumors spread that he had partnered with the landlord or even fully purchased the building from Sam. That shifted his role from someone trolling online to someone with real control over the space. He later posted that Sam was now his partner and claimed he owned the spot, telling Jones he would need to repair every door he kicked or face more trouble. Whether 50 actually owned the property or was just turning up the pressure didn't matter. People believed it. The image was set. In the eyes of the public, 50 Cent had become the landlord, and what happened next would cement that idea even more. Then came the eviction footage. On February 19th, 2026, 50 dropped a post that nobody expected. It wasn't a diss track, a meme, or a slick caption. It was raw security footage, time-stamped and clear enough to catch every move. The video showed Jim Jones and a couple of people standing in the hallway outside the IFC Film Studios podcast room. The lights were out, the doors were locked, the power was gone. Jones tugged at one door, made a comment about the electricity being shut off, then ended up kicking through another door just to get inside. The cameras caught it all in clean, high-quality detail. And the wild part was simple. These were the same cameras 50 now seemed to have full access to. 50 Cent captioned the footage with cold, sharpened humor, writing, "Damn, bro, this wouldn't happen if we was friends, wanna be friends, I don't know. Let's rap about it, ILOL." The way he echoed the podcast title wasn't accidental. It was a direct shot, crafted to twist the moment even deeper and make sure everyone understood exactly why he was posting the footage in the first place. Then he doubled down by uploading an eviction notice addressed to Joseph Jones and IFC Management, LLC. The document laid everything out in black and white. A 15-day default notice had expired on January 22, 2026, followed by a 5-day termination notice that ran out on February 17th. So by the time Jones was caught on camera on February 19th, the lease had already been passed for 2 days. The only thing Jones legally had left was the right to collect whatever personal items were still inside, and even that required going through the landlord. The reaction online hit instantly. Complex called the situation next level. Fans jumped into the comments calling it peak petty and even smart, pointing out how 50 didn't need to raise a hand. He replaced physical confrontations with contracts and surveillance screens, turning paperwork into weapons. One person on X said the feud might stretch out for the rest of their lives. Others wondered how 50 even got access to the security footage, calling it Big Brother energy. The running theory was that his partnership with the landlord gave him access to the whole building system. YouTube channels jumped in too. All Urban Central broke down the entire situation, calling it a mix of old beef, business tension, and social media showmanship that only someone like 50 could pull off. The host laid out how wild the moment really was. Viewers were watching a serious eviction collide with the kind of online drama that felt unreal. The intensity of the issue mixed with the surreal way it was unfolding made the whole thing hit even harder. 50 had taken a landlord dispute and flipped it into content that dominated the internet. And the way things looked, he was controlling the storyline with ease. Then he pushed further, telling Jones he had until Monday to pay or things would keep sliding downward. He posted more clips, tagged more people, and kept the pressure steady. Because for 50, embarrassment isn't a quick hit. It's a slow burn, a campaign meant to wear someone down until they either fold or disappear from the conversation. People online broke down every second of the footage like it was a film study. Some went straight for jokes. One person wrote from Dipset to set. Another called the group Lobby Boys. Others joked about how Jones struggled with the door, saying super thug grandpa doesn't even know how to kick a door. But the comments that cut the deepest were the ones connecting the moment to the bigger money conversation in hip-hop. Users pointed out that these rap guys don't get money like they claim. That clip didn't just embarrass Jim Jones. It cracked the entire image he had been building for years. Jim Jones eventually responded, and his move showed how far back this rivalry really goes. He didn't drop a statement or a track. He posted a video on Instagram stories showing himself doing martial arts drills, chopping wood with a Bruce Lee poster behind him. The caption said, "Kung Fu Jim, no locked doors at all." It was a response meant to sidestep the situation without actually explaining anything. And commentary channels immediately picked up on the tactic. All Urban Central pointed out that Jones refused to give 50 what he wanted. He didn't act bothered. He didn't argue. He shifted the tone and tried to show he was unbothered. It's almost like he's saying, "Y'all got jokes, but I'm outside and I'm good." The channel broke down why this mattered. When someone shows that 50's trolling gets to them, that's when 50 wins. So Jones keeping his cool was the smartest option he had left. The host also explained why the whole situation felt heavier than normal online drama. There was real history under it, years of tension that made every move between these two feel like part of a bigger picture. Turning the embarrassment into entertainment was probably his only strong play, because reacting in anger would have given 50 exactly what he wanted. And that pattern didn't start today. This rivalry goes back to the mid-2000s, when G-Unit and Dipset were two of the strongest movements in New York. Their tension wasn't always loud. Sometimes it sat underneath bigger issues like industry politics, old alliances, and crew dynamics. But it was always there, shaping how both sides moved. By 2007, everything shifted in a way neither side ever fully bounced back from. That year, 50 Cent publicly dissed Coke Records, the label Jim Jones was signed to, calling it a graveyard live on Hot 97. Cameron called in to defend the label, turning the moment into a direct clash between him and 50. Meanwhile, Jim and Cam weren't even speaking at the time. Dipset was cracking from the inside, and 50 saw the opening with the kind of focus only he moves with. He invited Jim Jones and Jules Santana to perform at a G-Unit show in September 2007. They pulled up and did We Fly High, Cameron's own people performing at the Rivals event. For Cam, that was betrayal. For 50, it was a well-planned move. Years later, 50 explained how he set it all up, breaking down the psychology behind what everybody assumed was a random moment. He knew Jones was finally getting his first major solo shine with Ballin. He understood what that meant to someone who had watched other people in his circle get their wins first. Just like Lloyd Banks watching other G-Unit members get the spotlight before him, Jones wanted that same individual moment badly, and 50 could see it clear as day. So when 50 said, "We like Jimmy better than you anyway," it wasn't praise. It was a wedge, a strategic jab meant to hit Cam and pull Jones closer at the same time. It fed Jones the validation he had been craving while disrespecting Cam in a way that couldn't be ignored. 50 watched Jones lean into that energy and knew the plan had landed. He saw the hunger, the ambition, the willingness to cross a line Cam would never forget, and he used it. That moment in 2007 shaped the next 20 years between them. It created a cycle where every move between the two sides carried old tension, a pattern of provocation and response that never truly cooled off. This brings everything back to the studio footage. What happened there wasn't random. It was another chapter in a system 50 has been building since the early 2000s. His entire style of beef is a machine, a full strategy that turns every conflict into content and every opponent into material for his media empire. It's not just trolling, it's a business model. And it works because 50 understands how to make drama profitable in ways most people never see coming. 50's whole template for this kind of warfare started years ago with J. Rule and Murder Inc. After he survived a shooting in 2000, which people connected to that camp, 50 dropped Wanksta and a wave of records that broke down Ja Rule's commercial standing while pushing 50 into superstar territory. That feud included real fights, industry blacklisting attempts, and mixtape runs so sharp they pulled in attention from Eminem and Dr. Dre. The lesson 50 pulled from that era was simple. Conflict, when you control it, becomes one of the strongest marketing engines in hip-hop. And unlike most people who learn that lesson, 50 never let it fade. He carried that formula from beef to beef, building it like a system. The Rick Ross situation, the Floyd Mayweather back and forth, the Taira Mari legal drama. Every one of them followed the same structure. Start something, push it further, document everything, post it, and let the internet amplify the chaos while he watches engagement rise. People on X call him the roast god and the best troll online. Billboard has written about him as hip-hop's narrator, someone who stirs up problems without stepping into them directly, staying clean while everyone else scrambles. The Jim Jones storyline is the sharpest version of that formula yet. Instead of using diss tracks, 50 used property deals. Instead of pulling up in person, he used security cameras. Instead of hinting through lyrics, he uploaded lease papers with dates and legal terms that couldn't be twisted or misunderstood. And the numbers behind his career explain why he moves with so much confidence. 50 has sold more than 30 million albums around the world. He has landed 3 #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100. On top of music, he built G-Unit Films, launched the Power franchise, and made business deals like the Vitamin Water play that reportedly brought him around 100 million. With that kind of reach and money behind him, he can turn any feud into a storyline, any moment into content, and any rival into material for the empire he keeps expanding. By 2026, estimates place 50 Cent's net worth somewhere between 40 million and 100 million, depending on who you asked. Jim Jones, on the other hand, had his commercial peak with We Fly High in the mid-2000s, released 7 solo albums, and never crossed 21,000 first-week sales after 2005. His estimated net worth sat in the 400 to 600,000 range. The financial gap wasn't just a detail, it was the whole battleground. When 50 offers to buy the studio you're struggling to rent, the message lands without anyone needing to explain it. Still, Jones didn't fade away. After the Eviction footage dropped, he posted that kung fu video and treated the whole moment like free marketing for his brand. Later, he uploaded a walkthrough of the studio space, showing construction areas and presenting himself as a developer in the middle of building a multi-purpose creative hub rather than a man who had just been embarrassed online. He walked through unfinished hallways and empty rooms, pointing out boutiques, barbershops, and studios being built. He framed the disorder as progress, as groundwork for something bigger instead of evidence of a collapse. He highlighted young creators still working inside the space, even with the bare conditions. To him, that activity showed that opportunity meant more than comfort, and that the vision behind the building outweighed any drama with a landlord or another artist. Jones even mentioned the cold inside the building. That was the same detail 50 and Cameron mocked earlier, with 50 adding fake wind sounds over clips of the crew bundled up. Jones, addressing it directly instead of pretending everything was perfect, told its own story. His strategy became clear. He wasn't going to deny the moment. He was going to take control of it, flip the narrative, and keep pushing forward. Jones presented the whole project as something rooted in community, describing the space as more than a podcast studio. He framed it as a home base for creators who didn't have access to better equipment or resources. Whether that framing holds up is still unclear. Some reports claim Jones sent over $200,000 to the landlord to settle the dispute and keep building out the space. But 50 Cent kept posting anyway, acting like the money didn't change the damage already done in public. Cameron, Jones's former Dipset partner, jumped in during this stretch too, throwing jokes about Jones's finances and even offering to send money through Zelle for heat. Jones shot back and called him soft and freaky, which only widened the circle of people taking shots. By February 21st, 2026, no legal filings had been confirmed, just threats, statements, and non-stop online commentary. The situation stayed alive on social media, with both sides looking perfectly fine letting it drag on. All Urban Central closed their breakdown with a question that still hangs there with no real answer. In a feud that has been running almost 20 years, with neither side backing down, what comes next? Maybe the real answer is both of them will keep swinging in their own way, but only one of them controls the building. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, share the video, and see you on the next one.